That night, no one knew Eztli's prayer would turn into a curse. She only wanted to do good, but the Mayan gods did not forgive her. What happens when a heart carries both love and a curse? Deep in the forest, in a hut where moonlight barely filtered through, Eztli knelt down. Her hands were trembling. The clay pot before her was as fragile as a broken heart. Inside were sacred leaves ground into paste and ancient prayers dedicated to the gods. By Chak's power, by Ixchel's mercy, she whispered. Her voice was thin, not from fear, but from exhaustion, because this was the 14th night. For 14 nights, she had broken the kingdom's laws, secretly helping people. The door opened slightly. Eztli's heart raced as she turned. But it was only a small child, in his mother's arms, his body burning with fever. "Please," said the woman, her eyes filled with tears. "The priests wouldn't help us. They said the gods want my son, but you know magic." Eztli's heart tightened. The kingdom's order was clear. Magic was forbidden. Only the temple priests could speak with the gods. But Eztli knew the priests expected gifts from the wealthy. They didn't listen to the poor's suffering. "Bring him here," she finally said. The dark spirit hadn't been born inside her yet. There was only kindness, only mercy. She placed her hand on the child's forehead. Magic words poured from her lips. The ancient language, the forbidden language, the language of sins. But for Eztli, it was the language of salvation. The child's breathing steadied. The mother thanked her through tears and vanished into the darkness. Eztli was alone. Again, as always. But she didn't know yet. This would be her last night. When the morning sun painted the Mayan kingdom's pyramids gold, Eztli was walking through the market. She looked like an ordinary woman, her hair braided, eyes tired, hands smelling of earth. No one knew she was a sorceress, or so she thought. Standing on the temple steps, Priest Zaknite saw her. His eyes held a cold gleam. Eztli knew him. Years ago they had learned from the same teacher, the same spells, the same languages. But Zaknite had chosen power. Eztli had chosen mercy. "Eztli," said the priest, his voice sweet but poisonous. "I need to relay something to the king. But first I want to talk to you." Eztli's heart quickened. "What are you talking about?" "Yesterday night a child was healed. His mother came here to the temple. She gave thanks. The gods accepted my prayers," she said. "But we did nothing, Eztli. So who did?" Silence. Even the wind had stopped. "Was it you?" asked Zaknite, his eyes narrowing. "No," said Eztli, but the tremor in her voice gave her away. The priest smiled. "Don't lie. The scent of magic is still on your hands. The god's language is still on your lips. If the king hears this, you know what happens." Eztli tried to turn, but the priest grabbed her arm. "Why are you doing this? The king forbade it. You're endangering yourself." "Because they're not helping," Eztli exploded. "Because while you wait for gifts, children are dying. Because while the gods want mercy, you want gold." Zaknite's face darkened. "You've said too much, Eztli, and these words will destroy you." That night, the guards came. The coldness of the stone dungeon penetrated Eztli's bones. Her hands were bound behind her hair disheveled, but there was still a gleam in her eyes. This wasn't regret. It was defiance. King Ahau Balam sat on his throne. His face resembled a stone mask. Priests lined up beside him. Zaknite was at the front, his eyes filled with triumph. "Eztli," said the king, his voice like thunder. "You have violated the kingdom's laws. Magic is forbidden. Only priests chosen by the gods may possess this power. Who are you to challenge the gods?" Eztli raised her head. "I am a mother, a healer. I'm not challenging the gods. I'm reminding them of their mercy." Whispers rose from the crowd. Some defended Eztli. These were the people she had healed. But most were silent. Fear had taken root in the kingdom. "The gods' mercy?" The king stood up. "The gods want our blood, our prayers, our obedience. You're creating chaos by using their name." "No," Eztli shouted. "You're creating chaos by rejecting the poor while blessing the rich. The gods love everyone, but you only love power." Silence. A deep, deadly silence. The king smiled, but it was a cold smile. "Witch," he said slowly, "I declare you a witch, and the gods will determine your punishment." Mayan tortures were legendary, perfected on stone altars, in bloodletting rituals, in pain offered to the gods. And now Eztli would experience all of them. The first day she was tied to stones under the sun. Thirst swelled her tongue. Her skin began to burn. But Eztli prayed. From within, silently, she begged the gods. "Save me. Forgive me. Take me." The second day, whips fell on her back. Each strike tore out a scream, but Eztli still resisted. "I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry." The third day, they placed a crown of thorns on her head. Blood flowed into her eyes. The world turned red. And in that moment, for the first time, something cracked inside her. This wasn't anger. It was something darker. The fourth day, they pulled out her fingernails. Eztli didn't even scream anymore. She couldn't breathe. She only moaned. And the darkness inside her grew. Pain transformed into hatred, mercy into vengeance. The fifth day. The fifth day, Eztli was no longer Eztli. When her eyes opened, they were no longer brown. They were black. A deep, endless darkness. And in that moment, the dungeon trembled. What's happening?" shouted one of the guards. Eztli's lips moved. But the voice that emerged wasn't hers. It was deeper, more savage, more ancient. "I'm no longer praying," said that voice. "Now I'm cursing." The dungeon doors exploded. Stones flew. Guards retreated in terror. Because Eztli now possessed a power that couldn't be held by chains. The dark spirit, Eztli's suppressed rage, pain, everything, had taken shape in her body. But Eztli herself was still there, deep down, screaming, "No, stop, don't kill them!" But the dark spirit didn't listen. The first guard collapsed with a single glance. His heart stopped. The second guard tried to flee, but shadows wrapped around him, strangled him. The third guard knelt, pleaded, but there was no mercy anymore. Eztli walked toward the temple. Her steps were elevated from the ground, as if she were floating. A dark smoke flowed from her eyes. Her hair waved in the wind, but there was no wind. When the priests saw her, they froze. Zaknite was the first to try to escape. But Eztli, no, the dark spirit, blocked his path. "You," said that voice, "you betrayed me. You had me chained. Now you too will taste the pain." "Eztli, please," Zaknite begged. I wanted to protect you. The king would have killed you." "Lies." The dark spirit raised its hand. Zaknite began to scream. His body contorted, his bones cracked. And then... silence. Eztli's soul cried out from within, "No, this isn't me! Stop!" But it was too late. The dark spirit was now in control. King Ahaubalam sat on his throne. In his hand was an obsidian blade. The kingdom's most powerful armed guards were beside him, but they were all trembling, because the temple doors were slowly opening, and what came from within was no longer a woman. It was a curse. "Eztli," said the king, his voice no longer so powerful, "the gods are not with you. This darkness, this sinfulness, the gods will punish you." The dark spirit laughed. But its laughter was terrible, the kind that would be carved into children's nightmares. "The gods have already punished me. They condemned me to pain. They brought me into this world. They forced me to do good, but then punished me. Now I'm enforcing their decision." The king jumped to his feet. "Guards, stop her!" But the guards collapsed to the ground. Shadows wrapped around them, strangled them, destroyed them. One by one, silently. None could even scream. The king was alone. He threw the blade in his hand, but Eztli, the dark spirit, raised its hand. The blade froze in mid-air and slowly turned back. No, please," the king begged. For the first time, he was terrified on his throne. The dark spirit approached. "You gave me pain. Now you too will taste the pain. But your pain will last longer. Because you won't just lose your body, you'll lose your soul too. And that night, the king of the Mayan kingdom died. But his death wasn't quick. It was filled with agony, screams, and fear. At the top of the temple, under the moonlight, the dark spirit stopped. Around it were corpses. Blood was flowing. The sky was shrouded in reddish smoke. But a scream was heard from within. It was Eztli's own voice. "No, this isn't me. This isn't what I wanted." The dark spirit smiled. "But you created me, Eztli. I am your rage. I am your pain. I was always here. I was just released now." "No," Eztli's soul resisted. "I wanted to do good. I wanted to help people. And look what happened." The dark spirit looked around. "They tortured you. They turned you into a monster. They killed you. Is this the gods' justice?" Eztli cried. But I didn't want to kill them." "Maybe you didn't want to. But inside you, in a corner, a small part, wanted to, and I am that part." Silence. A deep, tragic silence. Eztli's soul spoke slowly. Then I'm guilty too." "Yes," said the dark spirit, "you're guilty too. But it doesn't matter anymore, because revenge is complete, and now I'll stay here forever." "No," Eztli's voice grew stronger. "No, I won't allow you." The dark spirit turned. "What will you do? You're just a soul. I am the power." "But I am mercy," said Eztli, "and mercy is always stronger than darkness." Eztli's soul became a shining light. She faced the dark spirit within her. She was no longer afraid, no longer angry, just tired. "You are a part of me," said Eztli, "but I am more than you. I was love, mercy, kindness, and I still am." The dark spirit screamed, "No, you created me, you fed me." "Yes," said Eztli, "and now I forgive you." The light blazed. The dark spirit began to fade. Because darkness cannot withstand forgiveness, hatred is defeated by mercy, and rage surrenders to love. "No, no," whispered the dark spirit, its voice gradually diminishing. I was only your pain." "I know," said Eztli softly, "and now you're finding peace." The dark spirit slowly dispersed, vanished like dust in the wind, and Eztli was alone. But this time, loneliness didn't feel heavy. Eztli looked up at the sky. The stars were shining, the moon was smiling, and she heard a voice. This wasn't the god's voice, it was her own voice, her own heart. "I wanted to do good, and I did. I suffered, and I forgave. Now I'm leaving." Eztli's soul slowly rose, mixed with the sky, disappeared among the stars, and found peace. Years later, the Mayan kingdom fell. Temples collapsed, but people still told Eztli's story. Some remembered her as a witch, some as a hero. But everyone knew one thing. Eztli was a woman who tried to do good. And sometimes, goodness brings the greatest punishment. But perhaps somewhere else. Not in this world, Eztli is still healing, still helping, still smiling. Because mercy never dies. It only changes form.